And now your hosts, Matt and Brandon.
Welcome back, everybody. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Today we are talking about a few of our favorite rides at Dollywood. So if this is the first episode you've ever listened to, last week we did a history of Dollywood and took a walk around the park. We encourage you to go listen to that first. But today we'll be talking about 4 of our favorite rides. I'll be covering 2. Brandon will be covering 2. And yeah, why don't we just get right into it? Brandon, would you like to start or you want me to start?
Hold on.
Are you eating Dippin' Dots? Those aren't Dippin' Dots.
Yes, they are.
Show me the container. Turn it around. I know the Dippin' Dots. Those aren't Dippin' Dots.
I couldn't find Dippin' Dots.
How are those?
Tried. What's that?
How are they?
So I'm eating itty bitties. They're trash.
Are they really?
As I expected.
Yeah, well, as we covered last week, you've never eaten real Dippin' Dots.
But how different can they be?
Way different. You got to get them from a certified retailer.
A certified Dippin' Dots retailer.
They're trained in the arts of Dippin' Dots.
I just don't see what is so special about the Dippin' Dots formula versus the itty bitties formula.
Really? What's your favorite soda, Brandon?
My favorite soda?
Yeah.
I don't drink soda.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't pick up on why you were eating those at first. And I was like, we're starting. Why are you eating right now?
I had the whole thing planned.
That was great. I thought something was planned because you're like, oh, I'm going to leave my camera on.
For a minute. I can turn it off now. The point is, yeah, I just don't see. I get your point asking my favorite soda. I get it. But I don't love the Dippin' Dots consistency. I don't love.
Nope, stop saying Dippin' Dots.
You guys,
you're not eating Dippin' Dots.
I don't love the little ice cream bits. How would you call them? There's got to be a word for what these are. Dippin' Dots, itty bitties. They're all the same thing.
They're dots.
The little dots of ice cream. And I do not love the consistency. So it's just not my thing. I will still try Dippin' Dots. The next opportunity that presents itself, I will try Dippin' Dots. But those ones I just ate were trash.
Those look like cookies and cream?
They were cookies and cream. Good call, which is usually a flavor I enjoy. Ugh, I have a terrible taste in my mouth. That was a mistake. But they had cookies and cream, cotton candy, strawberry something, and another flavor. And they all sounded pretty bad aside from the cookies and cream. So that's what I got. What are the Dippin' Dots have different flavors? I assume they're kind of the same.
Yeah. They usually like banana split is a.
Oh, yeah. Banana split was the other one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's official. They are terrible. Itty bitties are terrible. I will try Dippin' Dots our next chance.
Sounds good. So again, if this is your first episode,
you're in for a journey, obviously.
Last week we pointed out, so Brandon and I have talked about Dippin' Dots for years and how I love them. And I can't believe he doesn't like them because he always says he doesn't like them. And at Dollywood, there are plenty of opportunities to get Dippin' Dots. And Brandon revealed to me he's actually never had Dippin' Dots. He's only had store-bought off-brand Dippin' Dots, like what you just had. What were they again?
Itty bitties.
So huge revelation.
It is not all right to be an itty bitty.
That's its slogan?
No. Do you not know that song? It's all right to be a little bit, to be an itty bitty, big old town. You don't know that song? It's a country song.
Oh, no.
Which fits the Dollywood aesthetic.
Never heard it.
But no, they're not good.
Okay. Well, you still failed because they aren't Dippin' Dots from a retailer. I'm telling you, go to a hockey game, wherever you go. That's what, growing up, I used to get them at all the Grizzly games going.
I'm going to a hockey game just for the sole purpose of getting Dippin' Dots.
Sounds good. Actually, I need to be with you the first time we get Dippin' Dots. So maybe you can get them at the zoo. So maybe we'll go to the zoo and get them together.
Okay.
Anyway, shall we jump into this episode?
Let's jump on in.
So when Brandon and I were looking at what rides to cover, we thought 4 would be a good number. We each cover 2. And there was one I definitely knew I wanted to cover. And then I had to figure another one out. And surprisingly, I even surprised myself by choosing the Dollywood Express because I thought there's some cool history behind it. So if you aren't sure, the Dollywood Express is the train that goes around the Great Smoky Mountains. And the cool thing about the Dollywood Express is that it has been there since the very beginning of the park opening in the 60s as Rebel Railroad. It is a 5-mile trip. So there is some cool history behind this, as I mentioned. And last week, Brandon, I quizzed you, and one of the questions was about one of the trains, what their history was, and we found out they were used in World War II. So there are 2 steam engines or steam trains right now that are in operation. Klondike Katie, which is number 192, and Cinderella, which is number 70. Klondike Katie was built in 1943, and Cinderella was built in 1938 by Baldwin Locomotive Works. And both of those trains served in Alaska during World War II. They transported troops and lumber on numerous missions across what would eventually become our 49th state, Alaska. And like I said, these are the original trains from the 60s when it was Rebel Railroad. So it's really cool history. It's the longest attraction that they've had there, obviously. Some interesting things I found.
You know something interesting I found?
What?
It's not rare for an amusement park to have a train, right?
Yeah.
But this one is how would you say it? Looks as if it's a legit train.
Because it is.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, you've got Disneyland has a train and it's great, wonderful, but it's not this behemoth that Dollywood has.
Yeah.
It's just this big old train. So that's cool.
I loved one of the reviews I watched about it, and they're like, if you're wearing a nice outfit, don't sit towards the front because the soot from all the coal will cover your clothing. And I was like, geez, that's as real as it gets.
That is the real immersive experience you want from an amusement park. I want some train soot to take home with me.
What souvenirs did you bring home? I got some train soot right here.
Do you think we can buy train soot on eBay?
Oh, we should look it up.
Dollywood. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. And if not, let's make our own train soot and sell it from Dollywood.
Or just a replica train soot. Not actual train soot from Dollywood, but
what it would be like.
An exact likeness.
I think you're onto something, Brandon.
Man, we got some good merch coming up, people.
So there were 2 questions I had that I could not get answered. One of them, I know when Rebel Railroad was sold and turned into Gold Rush Junction, they added a Western style shootout midway through the train ride, which is great. What I can't find is if they still do that. I know in the early 2000s, they did it for Dollywood when it was officially Dollywood. They'd have like a midway show where you'd stop halfway through and maybe get robbed or something like that. But I don't think they do that anymore. I couldn't find it. And the other thing I looked up, I was very hopeful about, is that Dollywood is known as one of the best parks for Christmas time with all of their lights. And I was so hopeful that the train would be the Polar Express.
That would be great, but I'm guessing it's not.
I wasn't able to verify.
Missed opportunity.
It might be. You know, it's a missed opportunity. I do ride the Polar Express every year for Christmas up in Heber, the Heber Creeper, and it's the Polar Express. And the missed opportunity is they don't even play any Polar Express music, which is it's my all-time favorite movie score. There's this whole deep history about it and how there's bootleg versions of it because they released the soundtrack to the movie that has a few songs, select score
Well, Matt,
songs.
I'm going to stop you. That's for the other podcast people are going to have to tune into. Okay. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Anyway, and then they put this album out called The Polar Express for your consideration. And it had songs, the actual music from the movie, but only 5 of them. And so people have cut and pasted all the music from the movie because of how good it is, put it together and sell it as a bootleg version. And I can't find, well, that's not true. It's on YouTube, but I can't find a physical version of this physical copy that I could have. But that's going off the track. The last thing I wanted to say about the Dollywood Express is this summer, it did go off the tracks. It derailed. And luckily, nobody was hurt. The train was full of people. Nobody was hurt. They were able to evacuate safely. But there was a mechanical issue and the train derailed. Now, I don't know about you, but talking about trains doesn't get much more exciting than this. So good luck following that up, Brandon.
All right. Are you being sarcastic?
No.
Okay. I get it.
The Mighty Ducks.
Well, you want to talk about amusement park accidents. How I got a story for you.
I'm ready.
Somebody sent me a YouTube video of a news broadcast from the ride we're talking about today, that's my segue. I mean, it's interesting. There was this ride I'm talking about now, Mystery Mine, had an accident a few years ago. What year was it? 2020? 2021?
I'm not sure.
2022? 2023? It was a couple years ago, but some people were walking underneath Mystery Mine and something fell off and impaled someone's head. Another person got hurt with an undisclosed injury. Nothing serious, but it's still
Nothing serious, but you said impaled a head.
Sorry.
That sounds pretty
impaled
serious.
maybe wasn't the right word, but her head got hurt. But the crazy thing is everything is still kind of a mystery as to what happened. Okay, but really, let's talk about Mystery Mine. It was soft opened in March 2007, officially opened April 13th, 2007. It is a still roller coaster. There we go. And yeah, it was manufactured by Gerschlauer, I think is how it's pronounced. And it is themed after, the Wikipedia says heavily themed as a haunted mining operation from the 19th century. I don't know if I'd say heavily themed. It's moderately themed as a haunted mining operation.
There's like 2 themed sections.
Yeah, so I'd give that a moderate. I wouldn't say heavy, but it has a pretty cool facade. Looks like a mine, as you'd expect. And it's a pretty good ride. You start out in the themed area. You hear a voice that says, "If the canary ain't tweeting, you'll be sleeping." And that kind of follows the story of the ride, that canary idea. And as the ride starts, you hear an evil laugh of apparently a scary haunted miner.
Could you say he's a ghost host?
I wouldn't say a ghost host, but I like the prospect of it. Get it?
Oh yeah, I got it. That's a good one. Dang it, I talked over your joke too. That was a good one.
But anyway, you drop after you hear his laugh, and there's a spray of stuff. How would you
Blood?
call that? There's like fog or something that sprays up as you drop down. It's not really fog. I don't know. Exhaust. It's just a spray of stuff.
It's
And
train soot.
It's
They've collected the soot.
That's where they put the soot from the train. They funnel it directly to Mystery Mine. And it's a mystery how they do that. All right, that's the last mystery joke. But anyway, you're going through the mine and you see eyes in the walls. You're hearing a lot of caws. You're hearing like the crows. They're cawing. That's how you'd say it.
Oh, I see.
And then I think you see a canary at some point in this area. I couldn't see it in any of the videos I watched, but as I said, it kind of is a theme throughout the ride. And once you're out, you kind of just do the roller coaster thing outside for a bit. And then
Which
you go.
I would say is lacking. It looks very slow.
Yeah, it looks like a lame portion, not going to lie. But then you go back inside an inside portion and there's like a video playing somewhere. I couldn't even see what was in the video. So I don't know what's going on there.
Can I fill in the blanks? Because I know what it is.
Okay. But before that, you do see a canary in a cage and it kind of does a flip, which is supposed to be it dying. So means you're in trouble. And then you see the video of whatever it is. And there's some lightning flashing, presumably a storm outside. And then what's the video playing?
Yeah. So your cart goes directly up. It's a lift chain, but you're going straight up. So your back is parallel with the ground and you're going straight up and the video is above you and it's of the tower of the mine and lightning striking. It's a storm and the tower comes crashing down. And then as soon as it hits the screen, that's when you flip over where you get to the top, the peak, and you flip over and you go down.
Gotcha. And then the coolest part of the ride, in my opinion, is it's dark and then a fuse lights illuminating dynamite and yeah, you're in trouble. I don't think is there an explosion effect? Kind of an explosion effect?
Kind of. With real fire.
Real fire. Well, I mean, it's not, maybe the explosion could be bigger is what I'm saying. Okay.
You think so?
You do have real fire and then you drop down and that's the big drop of the ride. And after that, it's pretty much over.
You think the explosion could be bigger?
I think so.
No way.
You don't think so?
You got to be so careful with fire and throwing it at people's faces.
Well, maybe they could do some kind of projection mapping or something cool like that to make it
Yeah.
seem bigger. I'm not saying
So,
real fire.
well, they have real fire. So what they need to do is keep the real fire and then do one of like Disney does
Yeah,
on
that's
Big
what I'm
Thunder
saying.
Mountain,
That's what I'm
where
saying.
it's like the shot of smoke and it's got red lights. So it looks like a flame is coming at you. I don't know. I thought it was really cool. I've never seen a ride like that. It's
It is
really
cool.
unique. But the outside portion, and again, from what I've heard, it is very bumpy. It's not a smooth coaster at all. And it
Oh,
looks extremely slow.
yeah. And after I forgot this point, after the drop, there's this weird upside down portion that just looks so uncomfortable to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as you said, people don't do this ride if they don't want bumps and bruises because it's kind of a jarring ride.
Yeah. But we
So,
would try it if we were there.
not try it. Yeah, no, I'm not really knocking the ride. I'm just looking at it from a critical perspective and saying, seems like it could be better. But nonetheless, good enough for us to cover on the podcast.
All right. Well, that is a really cool ride. Thank you for sharing, Brandon. I feel like it's a
You're
show
welcome.
and tell.
You're welcome.
We're going to go on to my last ride, my final ride, which is Lightning Rod. This is in my favorite area of the park, Jukebox Junction. Man, I said it the first time.
Junction.
Because it's a Jukebox Junction. It's got Lightning Rod. I'm going to leave that in there. That was pretty good. So Lightning Rod, it does look like a wooden roller coaster, but it is hybrid. It's got the looks of a wooden roller coaster. And I think it started out as a wooden roller coaster, but they have converted it to a steel coaster. It is a Rocky Mountain construction coaster, so an RMC coaster, which that name comes up a lot when we do a lot research on a lot of these rides. It is themed around hot rod cars from the 1950s, which fits in to the land of Jukebox Junction because that's the 1950s. And initially, like I said, it was a wooden roller coaster and it starts with a launch. So initially it was the fastest wooden roller coaster, but I've got some bad news for you, Brandon.
What's the bad news?
They're taking the launch out.
I did see that.
Yeah. So a staple of this ride is that it looks just like a typical roller coaster. You leave the loading station. There's a huge lift hill, but you're not being lifted up. You're being launched up that hill and it goes fast. And they had problems with it basically from day one. And so September 12th of this year, they announced that the last day Lightning Rod would be launched would be October 30th, which is now past.
So it's too late for us to have a launch.
Yeah. And the chances of us going to Dollywood and it being closed were high. So this ride was down all the time because I think mostly because of the launch. Also, this was a rough is not the correct word, but a pretty intense roller coaster. It was rough enough that they did have to replace the wooden topper track with steel iBox track. So that's why it is a hybrid now. It's replaced to be a steel coaster, but it still looks like a wooden coaster. So construction on this ride started in 2014 and it was done in May of 2015. It wasn't even open to the public until 2016 because of issues that they had once they did open it. So June 13th, happy birthday, Mom, 2016, they opened it. And then after several days of Lightning Rod being open, several being 5, they closed it because Rocky Mountain construction recalled a part that was used in Lightning Rod. So it just didn't have a great start. The launch in the ride was about as good as the launch of the coaster. They just kept having problems with it. But besides all of that, once you launch up the ramp, up the lift hill, it is an amazing coaster. It's placed throughout this mountain. So they use the hill to their advantage, the mountain to their advantage. It's built in and around it. It's really cool how the track works and goes through this mountain. Something you definitely want to look up and see. It is really fast. It tops out at 73 miles per hour. And even though they're taking out the launch, it'll still reach that speed of 73 miles an hour.
Nice.
So as much as I love Lightning Rod and how much I want to ride it, it has had troubled days. But hopefully with them replacing the launch with it's a high speed lift. So you'll still go up the hill fast. It's just not going to be a launch. But hopefully that will cut back on it being down so that more people can enjoy it. I don't know, Brandon, if you watched videos of it, but it does a lot of these turns. I wish I knew what these turns were called, where instead of just the nose of the coaster turning, the whole cart goes up on its side to make a turn. It's really cool. I've never been on a coaster like that before. So anyway, not much more to say about Lightning Rod. It is a newer one, so it doesn't have a huge long history other than a troubled history of that launch. But I did say in our last episode that if there was only one ride I could ride, it would be Lightning Rod.
That you did. And you're sticking to it, even without the launch, huh?
I'm sticking to it, even without the launch.
All right.
Because you go to a launch, you go up the launch, and then you don't even do a huge drop right away. You do a little dip, and then you hit your big drop. So I feel like the fast lift with the chain will serve the same purpose. You'll still do that little dip, and then you'll hit that huge drop, and you'll still get up to 73 miles an hour. So that is it for Lightning Rod. And I could be wrong, but I would say we've saved the best for last. Not Brandon, just the ride.
Okay. Yes, indeed, Matt. We have saved the best for last. This ride was opened June 6, 1978. So it has a long history. Yes, it is very similar to another ride we've talked about before from the sister park, Silver Dollar City. And this ride is called Fire in the Hole. Just kidding. It's called Blazing Fury. And I say it's similar to Fire in the Hole because, yeah, it's quite similar. It's an inside roller coaster. Not as much. I mean, it has coaster elements, but it's not a fast-paced, crazy roller coaster by any means. More a dark ride roller coaster hybrid. And, you know, you kind of mused about the railroad not having a Polar Express theme. At the very least, they do decorate this ride for Christmas, I will say.
Absolutely.
They put Christmas trees, lights all across it, really brightens it up because it is kind of a dark ride. Well, it is a dark ride, but it's also a dark ride. But man, what can you say about this ride? It is, it's a fun one. You said to me at one point, is there the audio talking about Red Flander like in the last one? I didn't hear it.
Oh, I was saying it was the same voice actors.
Oh, the same voice actors. Okay, cool. So you go through the ride, you see a sign on the side about there's fires and it's destroying everything as if it's from a newspaper. And then you get in and you cross this ma and pa sitting and rocking on their rocking chairs. So yeah, they're sitting there rocking away. And in the Christmas variant, they have a Christmas tree right there, which is cool. But they're just chilling. I guess they're not worried about the fires. They're just hanging out. And then you get through and you're seeing just kind of some scenes along. There's some people shooting at each other. You see a cemetery. There's fire everywhere. In the buildings, you can see it in the windows. You get to a part, and it's probably pretty similar to the Red Flander scene in Fire in the Hole. Do you know why it's similar?
The voices.
Other than the voices, can you point anything else out that would make them similar?
It's the hotel building?
No. To me, it's the insinuation of some kind of act of some sort. Something is happening. You know what I'm implying? Do I need to spell it out for you?
You're giving the general specifics.
It's an innuendo, if you will. So Red Flander, he's running out the window and he forgot his pants. The reason he forgot his pants, we'll let you make those assumptions.
It's because there's gold in his pocket and they were stealing his gold.
So in this one, there's a fireman down at the bottom saying, what's her name?
I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name either. But he says,
I know they were saving money on animatronics, so it doesn't make sense to have two firemen holding a tramp. But one person holding the trampoline is not gonna. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, they may as well have just got a bounce house and put it right there so she could jump on it. But he's telling her to jump and whatever, and he says, "Now you be careful, sister. I've got a week back." Which, come on, that's an innuendo, right?
Well, no.
Yes, it is. Totally is. But anyway,
no, that's where your mind goes to.
That is 100% innuendo. Are you serious?
In the 70s, They
Yeah.
recorded this, and they're like, that'd be funny if the fireman trying to catch her has a weak back.
Why is that funny?
Because it'd make old people laugh. Like, I've got an old back too.
Yeah, old people laugh because they say that in the sack.
I've never heard that.
Are you being doing that sarcasm thing again right now?
No.
All right. Well,
Is that something people say?
what? I've got a weak back.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Come on.
Really?
Yeah, that's a thing. I'm telling you. We'll ask the listeners to decide, but I'm telling you that is 100% an innuendo. Anyway, after that, you've got a cool water effect. This guy's got this hose, and it's this long stream of water that's kind of going up and down. And then on the other side, there's a guy on a toilet.
Oh, yeah. See,
In
I
a
think these are the
house.
guys. So starting with that girl, I think those are the same voice actors.
Yeah, probably.
It sounds very similar to Red Flanders. And so,
You be careful with my back.
The fireman, does he? Because I can't do Red Flanders' voice, but they got gold in my pocket. And does he sound like that? I got a weak back.
It's similar.
I think
be
it's the same.
careful, sister. I got a weak back.
Yeah, I think it's the
Go
same voice
easy on
actors.
me.
If she jumps, he's not holding that trampoline. He's holding it on one side. She'll just hit it and hit the ground. And
Maybe you're right, because if he's got a weak back and he's supporting this trampoline with just his arms, yeah, he's absolutely hammered.
Yeah. Well, and for the listeners that haven't seen this ride, it's not like there's legs under this trampoline. It's one that it's
a fireman's trampoline.
Yeah, you're catching somebody out of a building. So you need a bunch of firemen around this to hold it, to support it. And he's just got it by himself. Like, go on and jump.
Yeah.
It makes sense. They could set up mannequins and then put strobe lights on the mannequins that makes it look like they're moving.
But it only takes two to tango, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on. After the outhouse guy, you've got someone who's looking for a husband, any size and shape. And after that, you get the wonderful waterfall. And there's a building on fire above it. And then this is the part where you've got this kind of cool effect that's pretty unique, that you go and the track falls down.
Oh, yeah.
It's done by this hydraulic system.
Looks like you're crossing a bridge.
Mm-hmm. And then
It is a really cool effect.
Then it falls, and then you're like, oh, okay, the worst is over. But then you're kind of in a mine again or something. Kind of, it looks like a mine. And then there is a train coming. Oh no, we're gonna hit the train. And that's when you get the big drop. There used to be water at this part, similar to Matterhorn at Disneyland, but they took the water out because it was damaging stuff and not the best to have water and wood. It just doesn't work out for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched some videos of when they had the water, and it seemed like it was pretty cool. But they still make it seem as if you're going in the water. They do kind of lights, and I don't know if they do mist, but you think you're going in the water, but you're not.
They spray you with some train soot.
Yeah. That's not
They
water.
make the noise of water.
Not water. But yeah, you still get the effect that you're going in the water. And then you hear fire in the hole.
Yep.
So they plagiarized the ride in Silver Dollar City. Plagiarized their own work.
Yeah, they plagiarized their own work because does Hershent have a manufacturer, because I think the park built the ride, but do they actually have a name of what it's called, of like the company that built the ride, or do they just say the park built the ride?
Yeah, they said the park, it was in-house is what they said.
Yeah, in-house.
It was built by In-House Incorporated.
Well, that ride brings it all together because you drop into that mystery mine, and then you almost get hit by the Dollywood Express. There's no lightning, I don't think, though.
But how are you going to incorporate the rod? There's no lightning.
There's no lightning, but there's a lightning rod somewhere.
No. They should have had a lightning rod, and then they would have avoided the fires that were caused by the lightning.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what was holding up the trampoline.
Oh, his rod was holding up the trampoline?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was the fireman's rod.
Yeah, you say my mind's going in the gutter.
Oh, you're gross, Brandon. So anyway, they're all there. They're all connected. I had a lot of fun researching these particular rides. I don't know about you, Brandon.
Indeed, indubitably. I gotta say, maybe this is a bit controversial. I know that Dollywood's consistently rated the best and it won the best at the Golden Ticket Awards. I was a little underwhelmed by it.
To be fair, we haven't been there in person though.
Yeah.
But
What I'm saying,
I know what you mean.
change my mind, Dollywood. Bring us out. Change my mind.
Dolly Parton,
Dolly.
are you listening?
Oh, she's 100% listening.
If you're listening, we'd love to come out. We'd love to meet you. I'm a big fan of that song Jolene. And I'm sure you have other great ones too, but I really like Jolene. So bring us out. We can experience the best park of 2023 for ourselves.
We can really be the judges at that point.
Yeah. Well, I also want to experience the best Christmas park for 2022. It was rated best Christmas park. So bring us out. I think that's it. But before we go, we have to mention there was one part, and I knew you would probably forget this when you were talking about Blazing Fury. When you pass the guy with the outhouse, you can smell the outhouse.
Oh, really?
No, you can't. But you should be able to. That'd be pretty gross. But if you are like Brandon and I and enjoy scents, we have an affiliate link for Magic Candle Company. They do all the best scents. They don't do an outhouse scent for this ride, but
scent.
They don't do a soot scent. That's fun to say. Actually, well, you could do Burning Rome from Epcot.
Soot. It's not soot.
No, that's close enough. So if you want to smell that Dollywood Express soot, get Burning Rome. But anyway, if you love scents like Brandon and I do, check out Magic Candle Company. And in the description of our episode is an affiliate link. Magic Candle Company almost always has promos going on. So just use that promo and yeah, we'd appreciate it. And you will appreciate the scents. I can promise you that.
Yeah, do that in the meantime. But pretty soon we'll have our own stuff, our own soot scent and soot you can buy, replica soot. So watch for that.
Yeah, watch out for our eBay store. You can find us on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Amusement Park Road Trip. You can find us on YouTube at Amusement Park Road Trip, and you can email us at amusementparkroadtrip@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any ideas of what parks we should do next, let us know. We are gearing up for the Christmas season and trying to figure out which parks we want to cover for Christmas. So if you have an idea, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And I think that is it for this week. I'll give you a little peek into my personal life. I am leaving for Disneyland tomorrow for a 5-day trip at Disneyland.
You are in Disneyland right now. No, you're not. Just kidding.
But don't tell people that. I don't want people to know when they could rob my house.
Well, when does this come out? The 14th?
Yeah, this is coming out way in the future. So
yeah,
by the time you hear this, I've already been to Disneyland.
And just know, I mean, if you were trying to break in, I know where the cameras are. I can tell you.
Yeah, Brandon does. He tried to sneak into my house. I have cameras all over my house. You're not going to sneak in. But what I was going to say is that I am going to Disneyland tomorrow and I currently have shingles. And yes, I am as young as I sound. I should not have shingles.
I'm as young as I sound. I'm 30 years old.
Whoa, buddy.
Be careful with my back.
I'm 31, Brandon. I take offense.
All right. I'm sorry.
But you should not be getting shingles when you're 31. Anyway,
you need to turn those shingles into jingles, Matt, because it's Christmas time at Disneyland.
Geez. We're getting derailed, just like the Dollywood Express did this summer. So that is it for this week. Join us next week when we talk about something.
Next week?
We're going to talk about something next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about something.
Well, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Oh, and last thing, if you enjoy this podcast and you think you know somebody that would enjoy it, please share it. We would love that. We're growing our audience. We're still new. It's hard to get your voice out there, so there's so many different voices. If you enjoy this, please share it. Brandon and I share some of our favorite podcasts together, and that's because we shared them with each other. And so now every week we can talk about the podcasts that we listen to. So please share this podcast with somebody you think might enjoy it. And that is it. Wait, Brandon, did you hear that?
What is it?
It's a darn train. Oh, I thought that was pretty funny.
That was pretty good.
Okay. I'm ending on that then.